Hello students, today I'll explain about Jobs method. So Jobs method is useful for the determination of composition of complex. So we'll find out the composition of particular complex by using this method. Okay. Now this method is useful only when there is a one complex formation. If you are taking any particular solution, there should be one complex formation. Then only this method is applicable. And now can say beginning what I will do, I'll take different solutions and I'll number them different samples. I'll take containers and I'll number them 1 to 10. After that what I will do, I'll add a volume of the metal in ml and volume of the ligand in the ml in the particular sample. So you can observe the numbers here, 0 ml in the first sample and 10 ml of ligand in the sample. Next case, I'm taking second sample, 1 ml of the metal ion and 9 ml of the ligand. Third sample, 2 ml of the metal ion and 8 ml of the ligand. Next, fourth sample, 3 ml of the metal and 7 ml of the ligand. So it is continued like that. So if you are adding both, you will get a constant value called 10. If I add both the numbers of metal and ligand, I'll get 10. So from that I can write this equation that concentration of ligand to the concentration of the metal is equals to C, that is a constant value. So this equation is numbered with a single number 1. And next, by keeping these samples in a particular container called spectrophotometer, and I'll measure the absorbance. Okay, so absorbance is nothing but a particular place where the substance absorbs a maximum amount of light. So whenever the substance absorbs a maximum amount of light, that absorbance values I'll take on this y-axis. For each complex, I'll measure the absorbance value and I'll draw those values on the y-axis. Next, I'll take the mole fraction of the ligand and I'll take the mole fraction on the x-axis. So mole fraction, already we know that concentration of the ligand to the total number of the particles present in that particular container. So concentration of the ligand particles by the total concentration of the particular substance. That is a mole fraction. So when I draw this curve, I'll get this parabola, and if I extrapolate the legs of this parabola, I'll get a point where the absorbance will become a maximum. So at this absorbance maximum, we can also get the mole fraction maximum. So from this graph, we can find out the mole fraction of the particular ligand. So now we'll apply for the complex that mln. So m present on time and ligand present n time. So n formula can also be calculated from concentration of ligand to the concentration of the metal. So this equation I'm indicating with 2 now. So now by dividing the equation 1 with C, divide this equation with C, I'll get Cl by C plus Cm by C equals to C by C. So now I'll get, if I cancel this, I'll get equals to 1. And Cl by C, already we know that x mole fraction of the ligand. So x plus Cm by C equals to 1. So now Cm by C equals to, if I bring this one this side, I'll get 1 minus x. So I can indicate this formula, this equation with 4, this equation with 5. So by dividing equation 4 by 5, I'll get this value. So Cl by C into C by Cm equals to x by 1 minus x. Okay, now from this C's will be cancelled. I'll get Cl by Cm equals to x by 1 minus x. So already we know Cl by Cm equals to n value. So I substitute this n value, n equals to x by 1 minus x. So by finding the n value, we can calculate the concentration of the ligand or metal in the particular complex. So now this formula will be useful to find out the composition of the any complex. So this method also has certain limitations. So what are the limitations? When there is a formation of more than one complex in the particular sample, then this method is not applicable. And the volume of the metal and the volume of the ligand should become a constant value. It should become equal to certain value. If I change the different concentrations in the particular sample, this method is not applicable. So those are the limitations, and this is completely about Jobs method. Coming to the next topic, chelation or chelate formation. Okay, chelation is nothing but process of formation of ring-like structure around the central atom is called chelation. This process is called chelation, and this ring formation is called as chelate formation. So ring is called as a chelate. So which ligands can form this chelates easily? Bidentate and polydentate ligands can form this chelates. So I can give you bidentate ligand consists of two donor atoms. You can see here oxalate and ethylene diamine. Ethylene diamine, you can observe two nitrogen atoms are acting as a two donor atoms, and oxalate is acting as a bidentate ligand where two oxygens can donate two electrons easily. Different are good donor atoms. Now polydentate ligand. Polydentate ligand consists of three or more than three donor atoms. So I can give you best example, ethylene, diethylene triamine. Diethylene triamine, three nitrogens are acting as a good donor atoms, and EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetate. Ethylene diamine tetraacetate. So two amines and 4 acetate, totally hexadentate ligand EDTA. So 6 donor atoms are present in EDTA, and it is also called as a hexadentate ligand. So by using those two donor atoms or more than 3 donor atoms around central atom, they can form a ring-like structure. I can give you best example, bis-ethylene diamine copper 2 complex. You can see here copper. Around copper you can see one ring of ethylene diamine, other ring of ethylene diamine. They are forming a coordinate covalent bond by donating the electrons to the central atom and forming a ring around the central atom. This ring formation is called chelate, and the process is called as chelation. And one more example I can give you, dioxalate of platinum 2. So two oxalate ions are utilized in this ring formation. To platinum, they are donating electrons by utilizing their donor atoms, two donor atoms, and forming a ring around the platinum. So this is another example of chelate formation. So this is about chelation.